This is breaking news on ABC4 Utah.
We begin with breaking news out of the Nephi area. Law enforcement there searching for a wanted fugitive. His name is Michael Dees. The Juab County Sheriff's Office actually warned residents to stay inside their homes while they do this search. It's not known exactly why he's wanted. They say if you see him, do not approach him and just call 911.
My only regrets that I couldn't have been there this morning to protect her.
Emotional reaction tonight from a family of a woman shot and killed in West Jordan. Police say that Jill Lloyd was shot by Andrew Larson this morning near 7800 South, 2700 West in West Jordan. He took his own life this afternoon south of Dugway Proving Ground. Good for Utah's Glenn Beebe joins us now live with more on what her family had to say. Glenn?
Yeah, Don, Jill's sister tells us that after her last visit with her son, she had actually called up her mother to say that for some reason she was scared of Larson when he came to pick up their son. A short time later, their family would be devastated with her loss.
Someday I'll love again and maybe even forgive, but right now, no, I'm pissed.
Nick DeLuca says it's hard to put into words how family and friends are feeling after his fiancée was gunned down by her ex, Andrew Larson. The family tells us Jill had a rocky relationship with Larson, but they never thought it would lead to this.
The signs have been there. Nobody stepped forward, and Jill has made it very known how scared she's been. And my only regrets that I couldn't have been there this morning to protect her.
Jill was in a custody dispute with Larson, but friends tell us she had gotten all the other aspects of her life back in order and was in a good place.
It just seemed like she'd finally found her happiness.
Her friends are upset by the lack of resources available for women going through these types of situations. If one thing comes from her death, her friends hope it's a change to where women can turn.
I just think there needs to be something done, you know, to help women more in these violent relationships.
For now, family and friends are comforting each other through these hard times. Jill's fiance says it's hard because their life together was cut short.
And it was supposed to be for the next 40 to 50.
Jill's family says they're trying to organize a vigil at this point, but tonight several people have already come to the spot where she died to lay down flowers and candles. Reporting live in West Jordan, I'm Glenn Beebe. Good for Utah.
All right, Glenn, thank you. Following today's West Jordan shooting, we wanted to talk to the Domestic Violence Coalition. Now, a spokesperson says that domestic violence actually tends to go up in the summer everywhere, but it's even worse here in Utah.
So domestic violence incidents tend to become more dangerous, and we do see more of it in the summer months for some reason. Data across the country would indicate that. That's not just Utah. But what we do see in Utah that's exceptionally alarming is the amount of domestic violence homicide.
Jen Oxborough says that they are working with lawmakers to increase funding for domestic violence survivors in the next legislative session. She says there is currently no funding for services for survivors, and they want to change that. Before he shot and killed a Sandy woman and her young son, the suspected killer said that he was going to do something stupid. That's what we learned in a newly obtained search warrant. The day before killing Memory Rackley, her son, and then himself, Jeremy Patterson texted a woman saying that he and Rackley had broke up and he wasn't doing well. Police say that Patterson told the woman he was going to find Rackley and kill her, and then himself, because he didn't want to go to prison. Police also say Patterson stalked 3 of Rackley's friends and drove past their homes before the shooting on June 6th. We also want to highlight some domestic violence prevention and resource information available to everyone. The Utah Domestic Violence Coalition website is a good first step, and you can see that information right there. Also, free and confidential help and support for victims and survivors of domestic violence is available anytime, 24/7. Call 1-800-897-LINK. That is 5465. Tracking wildfires in one of the largest burning in the country right now. Fire crews have been battling shifting winds and more hot temperatures all day in that Bryan Head fire. Despite their efforts, they have gained very little ground trying to contain the flames. Now, we have team coverage of the fire tonight. Alana Brophy is tracking the fire conditions across the state. Patrick Walker from our sister station in Las Vegas has a story about the conditions for the fire crews. And we want to start with Nick McGurk, who just returned from a community meeting about what is coming next. Nick?
And Don, the community meeting did bring some encouraging news. I spoke with the Garfield County Sheriff. He says he's heard that the town of Bryan Head will reopen on Friday morning. he also urged a lot of patience because folks want to get back in their homes here in Garfield County, in the town of Bryan Head. So many places that are evacuated. And the fire, well, it was windy today. We have some encouraging news on the containment front. It was 10% contained earlier this morning. It's now 15% contained, and the acreage, we're told, is about 54,000 acres in total. The sheriff also touching on other issues like the town's water supply. Of course, Panguitch Town, or Panguitch City here, their watershed is in the line of fire. But what he said tonight and what officials have said tonight is the water supply is fine. They've got well water. Some other local updates here. A section of State Route 143 should be reopening tomorrow from Panguitch to the general store. And so that's some good news as well. We did talk to one woman leaving the meeting tonight who told us that, she can't get to her cabin, but she also told us she met a firefighter who likely saved it.
The firefighters from Kanab that come up, and he was telling us that he worked in that area where our cabin was, and he was able to help save it.
What did you say to him?
Oh, I thanked him and I hugged him. But it was wonderful.
So much support for the firefighters out here. They certainly deserve it, working 13-hour days for days and days on end. Now, we did hear from fire officials here at the high school at that public meeting saying there's a lot of containment around Bryan Head, and so, of course, that's why a lot of folks are trying to get back in. We know power's been on for the last couple of days. We'll have more on what's happening with Bryan Head and some of these possible reopenings tomorrow. For now, live in Panguitch, I'm Nick McGurk.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. Now, fire crews from around the country have descended on the Bryan Head fire. 1,600 men and women are battling the blaze. As Patrick Walker shows us, supporting that effort, no easy task.
When a major fire breaks out, an army of firefighters mobilizes. Moving with them is their own city. As the blood-red sun sets over the Bryan Head fire, it's back to base for many of the 500 firefighters on this side of the blaze.
It does take a lot to support. This is like a little city, and it goes up amazingly fast, like just in a matter of a couple hours.
The equipment generally arrives within a day. There are office tents for just about everything you can think of. Medical, communications, purchasing, and even office supplies are all important functions supporting the firefight. And don't forget the hoses. There are tons of those.
Everybody has a part to play. They know their part, and they play it well.
Firefighters also find many of the comforts of home. A full kitchen serves hot breakfast and dinners, and there are even showers.
These are giant paper towels that firefighters get.
Okay, maybe it's not quite like home. Up to 16 firefighters at a time can shower in this special trailer, but they say it's not that bad.
I just got to visit the shower today, and that's a wonderful thing.
Hot shower?
It was nice, yeah.
The crews sleep in tents around the edge of the command post. It's quieter here, away from the generators and fire trucks coming and going. But sleep is limited. Firefighters have a lot of homework when they get back to base. These camps are scalable. If more firefighters come in to join the firefight, these camps can expand as well. At the Bryan Head Fire, I'm Patrick Walker reporting.
All right, Patrick, thank you very much. Now, Moab police hope that the public can help them track down the person in some surveillance video they say actually tried to start a brush fire. Can you imagine in these conditions? This happened June 23rd. You can see the suspect lighting some brush right there, some bushes on fire near a home and business, and then just walking away from the scene. Now, we have a really good photo, I guess, considering it was nighttime. Take a look right here. If you happen to know anything, have any information, contact the Moab Police, 435-259-8938. All right, continuing our team fire coverage is Alana Brophy, who is in for Dan tonight. She has more on how the weather is impacting firefighting efforts, and she joins us now live on the Weather Porch. Alana.
Hi, Don. Yeah, well, let's talk about the smoke to start off, because it's been something that's been plaguing the Beehive State for days, and I want to show you the sunset actually out of Panguitch. Let's take a look at this video. Incredible video of the sunset, and you can see that thick smoke in the sky, the sun going down. This is over the Panguitch and Panguitch Lake area, shot by Gus Seashore. Absolutely fantastic video. It's so sad to see that amount of smoke in the skies, but it's something that the southern Utah area has been dealing with for quite some time. All right, the red flag warning that we saw throughout the day just expired minutes ago, and you can see that a big portion of the state remains. It's because what you're seeing in pink on your screen are the areas that will continue to have a red flag warning. That means elevated fire danger going through there Thursday. That includes the Four Corners area all the way up through Vernal, and of course near Cedar City, extending down towards St. George and over Lake Powell. Now, what's the kind of criteria when you talk red flag? Well, it's hot temperatures, gusty winds, as well as low relative humidities. That's what Brian Head firefighters are facing for the next few days, that area dealing with those temperatures. Now, this is one of the biggest wildfires Utah has seen in the last 15 years, claiming the #4 spot. That Brian Head fire just not letting up. Now, while it was really a fire story down south with the wind and the flames up north, we did see a little bit of activity. It was over near Vernal and right there on the state line. Some isolated thunderstorms moved through the area, but they were indicative of a big cold front. It's actually going to cool us off a little bit. How much? I'll tell you coming up in my full forecast in just a few minutes. Don, back to you.
All right, Alana, thank you. As fires continue to burn in our state, you can trust ABC4 Utah to bring you the latest updates. Stay with us both on air and online for continuing wildfire coverage. All right, as the holiday weekend approaches, remember there are restrictions in place on where you can actually set off your fireworks. For a complete list of fireworks and fire restrictions, go to our website, goodforutah.com. and then just search firework restrictions or fire restrictions to get all that information. New tonight, Friday marks 1 year since Utahn Josh Holt was taken prisoner down in Venezuela. Today, Utah Senator Orrin Hatch said that the fight for his release continues.
It's a devastating anniversary, but an important time to remind Josh and his family that we are still anxiously engaged in the fight for his freedom. Venezuela is in the midst of tremendous civil turmoil, which has complicated the fragile diplomatic waters of getting Josh released.
Now, the 24-year-old is accused of spying and possessing weapons. He says he went there just to get married. Josh's parents, Lori and Jason, fear for their son's life and have said that his health is getting worse and worse the longer he's being held in Venezuela. All right, still to come on ABC4 Utah News at 10, how affordable housing is helping the homeless get back on their feet here in our state.
Tested, trusted Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Tonight, it's an instant Kimmel Classic with Jimmy's man crush, Justin Theroux.
You know, sometimes I forget how handsome you are, and then you walk out all dressed up, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Plus Snoop Dogg chats and sings. Jimmy Kimmel Live, tonight on ABC.
It's funny how the biggest ideas often make our impact smaller. How looking closer at soil has helped us grow our thinking. And by creating digital tools that make resource use more precise, we use less. Like many industries, agriculture uses data to evolve, but you might not see our greatest innovations because they help keep what the earth has given us right where it belongs. We give back by moving forward.
Long live the trucks that honor the past, with a class-exclusive air suspension that can tackle the toughest terrain, and a load-leveling rear suspension to shoulder the weight. One drive and you'll discover why Ram trucks are America's longest-lasting pickups. Hurry in for the last days of the Ram Drive and Discover event.
Now get 0% APR financing for 72 months on the 2017 Ram 1500 Quad Cab.
Ladies. PRA Health Sciences is looking for healthy women to take part in a clinical research study. If you're between 21 and 45 years old and drink moderately, you may qualify for this study. Women who take part may earn up to $2,700. Call 801-269-8200. Again, that's 801-269-8200.
As the official spokesowl for WGU, I do a lot of speaking, but I also do a lot of reading. For instance, I read where Washington Monthly called WGU one of the most revolutionary institutions in higher education. Fact. And Forbes magazine said WGU is more focused on student learning than almost any other university. Also fact. What are you doing?
Air quotes.
Online, nonprofit, and surprisingly affordable. WGU. It's a new kind of you.
Deadman's Recreation in Tooele. You may think it's 300 miles out here, but remember, it's only 30 miles back.
Do you have a shady backyard? We have the plants that will grow happily there.
Welcome back. Homelessness is a major issue here in Utah, especially in Salt Lake City. Tonight, we want to take a look at affordable housing options, what it takes to get into that housing, and how it can change someone's life. Good for Utah's Randall Carlisle has the story.
After 10 years of homelessness, David has been living in the Wendell Apartments in Salt Lake City for more than a year.
But these are just like kind of knick-knack cups.
These apartments are part of Permanent Supportive Housing, or PSH. PSH is one of many options available to help people get off the streets and stay off.
I like living here.
David found himself facing homelessness after a string of unfortunate events, including getting laid off from his job.
And I took some worthless jobs probably along the way also, and they only want to pay you minimum wage most of the time.
And his experience isn't uncommon. In Utah, you would have to be making around $17 an hour at a regular full-time job to afford a very basic two-bedroom apartment. That means it would take 94 hours of work a week at minimum wage to afford the same apartment.
What we need is very extremely affordable housing.
Kelly Bowers is the Director of Services and Permanent Supportive Housing for the Road Home.
Permanent supportive housing is very important to have on a spectrum of housing because it helps wrap around the services for them. So as they choose, they can move on to less supportive housing or independent housing.
In PSH, tenants have an on-site case manager who helps them get comfortable in their home and with anything else they may need. Nick Whitaker is one of those case managers, and he says you can see the difference housing makes in a person's life.
When you see that pathway from homelessness to housing, when you see that health improve, and when you're housed and you're receiving health care, it changes everything.
But getting into housing is not always a simple process.
There's so many complexities that we have to work with in order to get someone housed.
It is often a lengthy process, but property manager Karen Grenko says even though it can be intimidating to them at first, most tenants are relieved to have it done.
From there, we usually get the exciting part because they're moving into their own home. So we get to see a lot of happy faces, a lot of relief on faces. We want to have a place where they can feel rest, they can feel respect, they can feel like they are part of something that is good for them.
It's home, and it's more than I've had for a while.
But there are many families and individuals who are still facing homelessness.
We can't keep turning a blind eye to it or talking about it like the problem. I mean, the problem with homelessness is that we allow it to happen.
Randall Carlisle, Good for Utah.
There's more information available about homeless services and community partners throughout Utah. Links to those organizations and more information about them is available on our website at goodforutah.com.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast, Weather Rate Certified, 6 years in a row.
What a Wednesday, right? We saw the sunshine, some heat, some storms, and some windy conditions. Gorgeous sunset over the Great Salt Lake. Keith took this picture, so northern Utah saw a beautiful sunset. Southern Utah saw a smoky sunset, but those colors really managed to pop. Now, the smoke just wants to stick around for the next few days. The wind kind of helping to move that out of the area. I'll show you that in a second. 91 was the high in Salt Lake, made it to 92. In Cedar City, 102 down there in St. George. Some areas hit those triple digits. In Salt Lake, we were above average, but we're going to cool it down just a little bit thanks to a passing cold front. We've already started to cool into the 70s in Salt Lake and Utah County. Delta sitting at 77, 73 in Cedar City. St. George maintaining that heat with the low 90s there. Looking at our current relative humidity, this gives us an idea of how dry we are. We know we've been dealing with hot and dry conditions in the southern portion of the state, still extremely dry. Higher numbers in Salt Lake and Provo, and that's why we're seeing that red flag warning lapse just a little bit in northern Utah. Our highest wind gust shows those numbers in the double digits, hitting the 20s in the Salt Lake Valley, 30s down south, 29-mile-per-hour gusts near Cedar City. And this is the type of weather that really makes it tough for fire crews. So going into tomorrow, because the winds won't completely subside, we still have that red flag warning for the eastern side of the state. Now, northern Utah saw that warning drop at 10 o'clock, and really this means elevated fire danger. So we're still in that category as we head into tomorrow for the Four Corners area, eastern Utah all the way up to Vernal. in Iron County and down toward Lake Powell, Hanksville, Richfield, Panguitch, that area, dealing with the wind going into tomorrow yet again. As we talk about the winds, we saw them shift. They were coming from the northwest today, and that managed to push that smoke out of the state of Utah, a lot of it into Colorado. We're seeing that smoke up to about, well, north of Moab, south of Vernal, the Lake Powell area, even parts of it reaching into Arizona. So the smoke out there, and we're going to try to get it out of here as those fire crews work really hard to contain that fire. Good news coming out of there tonight was a little more containment. Western satellite radar shows us the front that pushed into the state, so it brought just a little bit of storm activity into northern Utah, extreme northern Utah. So right there on the border of Idaho and Utah, we saw just a few storms that wanted to sneak in. As we look at the storm tracker radar right now, fairly quiet north of Preston, a little bit of activity over there on the Idaho side, but northern Utah has quieted down. There wasn't much to deal with, but maybe some dark cloud cover as well as some winds. At times, maybe a sprinkle or two, but for the most part, those isolated thunderstorms stayed out of Utah, but they did bring in that cold front, which will affect us going into tomorrow. 84 for that high in Salt Lake. This is below average. We're going to go ahead and take those 80s when we can get a mid-80s in Utah County, 80 even up there in Logan, 84 in Price. Down south, the heat persists. So you know we're going to see low 90s in Cedar City and over 100 degrees in several locations. That includes St. George and around Lake Powell. So find your city. We've got 70s up there in the high country, places like Summit County, Brigham City in the low 80s, 81 over in Tooele. In central Utah, plenty of sunshine on deck with a mix of those 80s. Green River wants to stand out a little bit like a sore thumb and get into the mid-90s. No surprise, they have that same climate as southern Utah, where we're going to see those valleys really heating up in the mountains. It's a mix of 80s, 90s, and a few 100s on the map. Where do we find them? Right here in the Utah-Dixie area. We're looking at over the century mark for the next 7 days. That includes the 4th of July holiday. It's going to be a hot one down there in St. George. Now, the Wasatch Front has a different weather story. That weather story showing us the cool down for tomorrow and Friday. Hey, we'll take any degree we can when it comes to a break when we get it. Warming up by the weekend. Really hot as we get toward the 4th of July in northern Utah with high 90s, mid 90s Saturday and Sunday. Tomorrow looks nice.
Yeah, I'm more of an 80s fan, both in temperature and in music.
I'm with you. A little hairband, okay?
The 90s thing, I don't know. It's just a little toasty.
Perfect weather to talk about some basketball.
Indoors.
Indoors, in the air conditioning, that's right. The Utah Jazz introduced their 3 new rookies, Donovan Mitchell, Tony Bradley, and Nigel Williams-Goss. You will hear what they have to say about their new team and their college rivalries with each other coming up in sports.
When the clouds roll in, that's your drum roll. And when lightning strikes, the stage is set. And when the thunder claps, you're ready for your encore.
Lease a new 2017 4Runner for just $339 per month with Toyota Care, our no-cost service plan for 2 years or 25,000 miles.
Toyota, let's go places.
Wow, that pre-collision system is super impressive.
Yep, we're not even charging extra for it. It's called Toyota Safety Sense. Lane departure alert, automatic high beams, and more.
With safety features like that, we probably won't need as many of the dummies anymore.
Because many of them are getting a well-deserved promotion.
A what?
Discover Toyota Safety Sense in Corolla now with 0% APR for 72 months or get $2,000 cash back.
Toyota, let's go places.
I just adore RC Willie, and with a sale like this, you better get over here before I clean this place out.
During our huge appliance sale, you'll find the lowest prices of the year on top brands that are in stock now. This Samsung convection range is just $4.99, and this Whirlpool 4-piece kitchen package is only $19.79. This Samsung stainless steel refrigerator is just $13.99. Save $600 on this LG laundry pair, and there's much more. Don't miss this. RC Willie, your home, your way.
Get ready for the big game, or any big game, with Arby's Pizza Sliders. Could be yours or someone else's. Could be an enormous board game. Could be a large video game. No game is too big for Arby's Pizza Sliders. But there has to be some kind of game. Arby's Dollar Sliders. Now featuring the new pizza slider, carry out or dine in only. Arby's, we have the pizza.
This 4th of July at Enterprise Car Sales. Experience great customer service and get more for your trade. June 29th through July 5th. And let Enterprise Car Sales flip your thinking about buying your next vehicle.
All across America, more people are choosing Nissan. It's America's best sales event at Nissan, the fastest growing auto brand in the USA. Take on every day and get a low $199 per month lease on the 2017 Rogue or lease Pathfinder, just $279 per month. Get to your local Nissan dealer today.
Time now for ABC4 Utah Sports with Rick Aaron.
Last week at this time, they were NBA prospects, but now Donovan Mitchell, Tony Bradley, and Nigel Williams-Goss are the newest members of the Utah Jazz. Today, I had the chance to speak with each of the rookies and get their thoughts on their new team.
Donovan Mitchell from the University of Louisville.
From Thursday night in Brooklyn to Wednesday morning in Salt Lake City, 13th overall draft pick Donovan Mitchell said his head is spinning.
It's surreal. It's amazing, you know, going out. You know, I never saw myself being here and so quickly. You know, it all happened so fast. And the fact that I'm here now and to get to play Summer League on Monday, it's even going even faster. So I'm just excited to be here, glad to be part of this, and I can't wait to get going.
Former Gonzaga guard Nigel Williams-Goss thinks he'll be a good fit here.
Just such an unselfish group, you know, and I think when I watch them play, especially in the playoffs, you know, Gordon Hayward, Rudy, those are kind of like the bigger name guys on the team, but they didn't care, you know, that Joe Johnson was shooting, you know, at the end of the games, or, you know, George Hill was having big moments down the stretch of games, and I thought that was really similar to how we played at Gonzaga.
Williams-Goss and 28th overall pick Tony Bradley from North Carolina squared off in the NCAA championship game when Bradley's Tar Heels prevailed 71-65 over Gonzaga. Do you talk a little smack to him about that?
No, I don't talk any smack. This national championship game, I know that was important to him, and someone had to win. We won, and told him good games.
You know, we had nothing but good conversations, and really excited to be teammates now.
Back in February, Bradley's UNC team beat Mitchell's Louisville Cardinals 74-63 in Chapel Hill, despite a 21-point performance from Donovan.
I don't talk about it because we lost, so I don't talk about it. But if we had won, I'd let him hear it. But we did beat my freshman year, and I'll definitely tell him. But he has a ring, and I don't, so he can definitely just hold that in my face for forever. So, when North Carolina plays Louisville this year, we'll definitely have a bet going on.
Tonight, the three rookies tried their hand at another sport, throwing out the first pitch before the Salt Lake Bees game at Smith's Ballpark. First up, Nigel. Here's the throw, and it's a little high and wide. Then it's the big man, Tony Bradley, and this one is, well, it's not too bad. Then it's Mitchell. His dad works for the New York Mets, and Donovan played baseball until his sophomore year of high school. That's the best throw of the bunch. The Bees hosting the Reno Aces. Salt Lake's Caleb Coward belts one to center field. That's over the head of A.J. Pollock. Shane Robinson scores to make it 1-0. One batter later, Cesar Puello singles up the middle to bring in Cowart. The Bees go on to win 5-2 for their fourth straight victory. They'll go for 5 in a row tomorrow in a 12:05 game at Smith's Ballpark.
Yeah, clearly they're playing well enough that they don't need to use any basketball players.
They don't need
to come out on the mound.
Any spare pitchers from the Utah Jazz.
Because I don't think any of those guys.
They didn't embarrass themselves like a lot of those guys do.
Yeah. It's easy to just misstep and throw
off that mound. We'll be right back.
Be the next success story at Total Health and Fitness. Schedule your free consultation.
Check out the Blue Lemon Restaurant's camera network on goodforutah.com. Visit Blue Lemon in Sandy, 11372 South State. Pure, clean food with a twist. They're good for Utah.
Come light up the savings at Hyundai's 4th of July sales event. For a limited time, lease a Tucson for only $149 a month or get up to $4,000 in total savings. Lease the Santa Fe Sport for only $149 a month or get up to $6,000 in total savings. All backed by America's best warranty. Come light up the savings during the 4th of July sales event. Better is the reason to buy Hyundai. And here's another reason to buy now. Lease the Tucson for $149 a month or get up to $6,000 in savings on the Santa Fe Sport. Only at your Utah Hyundai dealers.
Have some free time? Listen up. We've got news for you. PRA Health Sciences is seeking healthy men and women ages 18 to 55 for a study of an investigational medication. Volunteers must be available for 3 stays of 6 nights each, plus 21 follow-up visits. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $9,000. Call PRA today at 801-269-8200. That's 801-269-8200.
If you're looking for the one-of-a-kind sleeping experience of a Tempur-Pedic mattress, don't go to Mattress Firm. They don't carry them anymore, but we do. Denver Mattress is your Tempur-Pedic elite retailer, and we'll be happy to custom fit you to a Tempur-Pedic that's exactly right for you. And right now, take advantage of 6 years no-interest financing on every Tempur-Pedic mattress we carry. A better tomorrow starts tonight at Denver Mattress inside Furniture Row.
Whatever your plans are for the 4th, you'll find low prices on everything for your celebration at Smith's.
A 6-ounce carton of blueberries is just 99 cents, and grill up pork back ribs for $2.79 a pound.
When Saray first came here, she impressed me with her wealth of experience, followed closely by her desire to share stories that have an impact. She cares about the community that she's raising her family in. Saray is a compassionate storyteller, and that's good for Utah.
Nothing funny about being pulled over, especially if you actually get the ticket, not the warning, unless, of course, the deputy who stops you ends up leaving to chase down his own patrol car. See, there it goes. It's starting to back away. Ooh. Video from Ohio. You can see the deputy's talking to the driver. Doesn't notice that his patrol car is starting to roll backwards. Then you're going to see the deputy realize that his patrol car is rolling backwards. The sheriff says the deputy actually left the vehicle in gear. He eventually is going to catch up to it. Here he comes. Before it hit anything, he was not given a ticket, but we're told he was disciplined within the department.
You know, they call it a dash cam, and he had to do the 100-yard dash to get his car back.
So it took him forever. He did not notice it was going away.
Got ourselves a runner.
Yeah, there we go. He's calling it in. I don't think he was calling it in. He was probably hoping
nobody
no one
saw
knew,
that,
but
right?
Video cameras everywhere. Anyway, last look at the forecast.
We're going to cool down going into tomorrow, which would be fantastic. That's going to hang in there on Friday, where we'll only hit the 80s, and then warming right back up as we get into the weekend. Plenty of sunshine. 4th of July holiday on the map there, and we see a 97. So guess what, folks? It's going to be real hot. Great day to hit the pool and take it easy because the heat is going to be on.
Yeah, you're going to have to find some shade, some liquids, a pool, a beach, a lake.
A coconut.
Why not? Coconut. There you go. All right.
Jimmy Kimball's next.